What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Everyday's Draft Day. I am your host, Dan Turner. Joining me, as always, Steffi Smalls. What's up, Steph? How are you today?
Not much. What's up with you?
I'm still recovering from the football that we saw this past weekend. It was insane.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I am sick or if I just am so burned out from all this crazy football that we had this
hmm
weekend.
My body, after the end of the Chiefs Bills game, it felt like my body was shutting down. It was so much adrenaline for so long. It was just like, okay, we're
Yeah.
done here.
Especially with the Rams and like Tampa playing before, it was a lot at once. A lot of adrenaline going on, a lot of unexpected. I'm glad we got some solid football though.
Yeah, solid is an understatement for sure. But it was great. It's gonna be hard to top. But hopefully, the championship games won't disappoint.
Yeah.
But before we get there, there's some kind of breaking news today in the NFL. Sean Payton has decided to walk away from the New Orleans Saints, uh, retiring for now. He seemed to not want to stick around for that rebuild with no cap space. What do you think of this situation in New Orleans and Sean Payton walking away?
What a present he left them with Taysom Hill, though, huh? Way to
What a
go, man! Like, come
That's how
on,
so.
you're really gonna leave him with that guy? No, you know what? Good for Sean Payton. I think it takes a lot to walk away at the right time, and we're seeing that with players, with coaches, with GMs. And I think he's walking away from a situation at a time that is going to end up benefiting him. I know that Saints fans, this probably is doesn't seem good. I'm optimistic for them. I think that this is a great time to kind of really take on your rebuild, and I think it'll end up being a positive thing. Sean Payton had an excellent career, very successful coach, like 63.1% win percentage. So he had a great. I don't see this guy staying retired, which is why
Mhm.
I don't know if I love that word for him. I think I see Mr. Aikman maybe heading over to Amazon and then him taking that role in the booth maybe for a year before he heads back. Maybe trinkles his way back to Dallas when Mike McCarthy inevitably f's up. But I don't think this is the last we see of Sean Payton as a coach.
No, I agree. I think he just didn't want to stick around for that. I think he'll take a few years in the booth, recharge his batteries, and then when a decent situation comes up like Dallas, because that's where we all know that's the situation he wants, and Dallas is going to keep McCarthy if Payton expresses interest in going
Mm-hmm.
there. So I figure give him a couple of years recharging. We'll see him back
Yeah.
soon. I don't think this is the end for him. I do feel bad for the Saints though, because now it throws the whole coaching search situation into people. No team, as far as I know, has hired anyone to be their coach as of yet. So now, do they reconsider where they were going to maybe go for the Saints job? I don't know. I don't think that the Saints job is that attractive right now, where it's going to change anyone's mind that kind of already had somewhere that they wanted to go. But I think that they're going to just promote from within and give Dennis Allen the job and go from there.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think they'll go through the motions. I think that Allen will end up getting the job. And then, it puts a lot of question marks. Michael Thomas, what do they do with a couple other guys' contracts over there? But I think, at least the roster is in a place where it's stable enough where you can make some changes and kind of proceed in this like rebuilding mindset.
Mhm.
So we'll see how it goes.
So if you were the GM, would you like trade off like Thomas and like Kamara and just go for a complete rebuild, or would you try to like keep them and build around them with the limited like space they have?
Yeah. I think getting rid of both is probably a lot. I mean, you're gonna start losing the fans a little bit there. Like you're taking away their prized possessions. I think Thomas was
Mhm.
out the door regardless. I don't think that
Yeah,
this
either
had
way.
anything to do.
There's
I
more
think
Kamara.
Thomas was leaving.
Right.
So I think you try to keep Kamara unless you really want to fully commit. Then maybe you move them both. Maybe that's the right way. But I think it'll come down to who they. I mean, I guess what Allen's gonna want to do because they don't see them really going outside of internally
Yeah,
right now.
outside of the organization, right.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get to a recap of the divisional round, just wanted to let everyone know that we have a fun giveaway this week. Join our free boost ball contest. DM us at Champions Round on Instagram with a screenshot of your entry, and we'll be entered to win a signed Trevor Lawrence football. So that's fun. Hopefully, Trevor Lawrence gets a good coach, which can't be. I mean, you can't get much worse than Urban Meyer, but hopefully he gets a good coach, and we see that potential he had when he was the number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to the divisional round, there were a couple of decent games. Wouldn't you say? I mean, nothing really exciting happened this past weekend. I think that were pretty boring, pretty cliche. Right? Yeah. No.
Super boring.
Super boring.
We got the games that we deserved from the weekend prior, because it really was, some of those games were quite a dud. So we definitely got the games we have all deserved.
Yeah, most of the games were dud on the wild card weekend, but the divisional round more than made up for it. People are already saying it was the best weekend of football of all time, and it's really hard to argue from what we saw. What are some of your? I'll go first with some of my thoughts. I think that it's pretty clear now that Mahomes and Allen are pretty much the class of the AFC for the next 10 to 15 years. It's the new duo that they're going to battle each other out, and Burrow isn't far behind them, and then you have Herbert. So it really seems like the next crop of really good to Hall of Fame class QBs is all in the AFC. The NFC has some catching up to do in that regard. But it was awesome to see Stafford. That everyone thought they were going to choke that lead away, and the Bucs were going to win again, and Brady was going to win again. But the fact that he didn't give up, and he threw that ridiculous pass to Cooper Kupp and won the game. That was a legacy defining moment, I think, for Matthew Stafford there. I think people didn't give him. People always said that he padded his stats in Detroit, but never really won anything. But the fact that he got that big lead against Brady, choked it away, and then still ended up winning the game, I think that did really good for how we're going to perceive him historically, down the road in a couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was awesome for Stafford. I think, McVay also did a really good job setting him up to not throw an interception. And I think that was one of the big things going into it, where it was like, oh, they'll win if Stafford cannot throw an interception, if Stafford could not mess up, if Stafford cannot be this, cannot be that, what he's been in the past. And it's crazy because it came down to, we saw this with Mahomes, we've seen it with Brady in the past. Don't leave X amount of time for these guys, because they're going to end up, crushing you. It's too much time. And now Stafford is one of those guys. He got 42 seconds, had 2 awesome, throws downfield to Kupp, and you saw him win that game, and he won it for them. And I think that was awesome, because things got crazy. When Akers had that fumble, then you're like, oh no, Brady's going to pull it off again. And I think that Stafford held his composure, which maybe in the past he hasn't done, and definitely kind of took off a little bit of that tarnish that has been, that stain that's been sitting on his reputation. And obviously it was great to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not the first time that you see all the momentum just avalanche in Brady's direction, and a lot of teams just aren't able to stop it, and they end up getting crushed. The fact that that still happened to Stafford, but he was able to climb out of it and turn around and actually win the game was incredible mental toughness on his part, because no one would have blamed him for folding in that situation when so many other good QBs have folded in that same situation beforehand. So the fact that he didn't and was able to turn around and make that throw to win the game is insane for him.
Yeah, definitely very excited for him. And it's even going back to Mahomes and Allen, I mean, for 2 guys to both throw over 300 yards, complete 70% of their passes, and to both be rush 65, whatever it was, is absurd. So it's really cool. And I think that we have this new rivalry that we're going to see for years to come. And they kind of are, forming this new category of quarterbacks. And we really saw it come to play in that game, and there is something to their mobility and everything, but I don't want to discredit the fact that they were very capable through the air also, their talents as a whole, as a very, just from totality standpoint, they were excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're making some throws that you don't see a lot of quarterbacks make, and that's why they're the standard. They're the unicorns that everyone's looking for when they're looking for a QB. Especially in Josh Allen's case, because people, when he first came in the league, he wasn't as highly regarded as he's now, but he was able to develop into what he's now, and he was throwing some heat-seeking missiles in Gabriel Davis's direction when he didn't have to. I mean, there was one play I remember I was breaking down, and he had Dawson Knox wide open for 10 yards, but he was like, nope, F that, we're just going to throw it 30 yards to Davis and score. And the fact that for one, he's physically capable of doing that, and 2, actually pulls the trigger is insane. The fact that neither of them are above 26 years old is just crazy.
We have some crazy years ahead,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to be in the league for a very, very long time.
Yeah,
They are.
absolutely. But speaking of toughness, not to discredit, not to forget, on Saturday, Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times.
I was just about to bring it up.
Great minds think alike. But yeah, he got sacked 9 times, and while he didn't, didn't throw a large amount of touchdowns, or I don't think any touchdowns. He did lead a team to win the game, and I think that says a lot. The fact that he got basically the crap kicked out of him, and he was still able to lead the team to a win, was a really big deal. I think he has a not many people are giving him a chance against the Chiefs and Mahomes, and I think that's a mistake. I think he has amazing, physical toughness to go along with his skill set, and a group of receivers that's arguably the best in the league. So I think it's going to be a really good game. I don't really put much emphasis on regular season results, but they did beat the Chiefs earlier. But the playoffs are a whole different ballgame. But the fact that I think it's huge that they have the knowledge that they can beat the Chiefs, that it's possible, that Mahomes isn't invincible, and then he can lose. So I expect it to be a really good game again. But I think it's just awesome that Burrow took that kind of punishment, kept getting up and led his team to a win.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tennessee's also a very good defense. I mean, they will bully the crap out of you. So, for someone to go out there and to be sacked 9 times, like they're laughing in your face. This is why they drafted Chase. Like it's because they had trust in what they had, and to come out with the win the way that they did, I think just their whole, you see them, they're very motivated, their team, their culture, everything that is that, McPherson cracked me up saying like, looks like we're going to the eight. Like it's just the attitude that they all have, this confidence. And I think that that's definitely helped them. So it won't shock me. I think that they can beat the Chiefs. I know they met at whatever time they did during the season, but I could see them pulling it out. I think that Burrow has that confidence. And, if you can still continue to produce, getting sacked 9 times, there's not many quarterbacks that could do that in this league.
No, no. I mean, you saw it even with Brady. When the Rams, got in his face, he wasn't able to. He was bothered by it. Not to say that Burrow wasn't, but he was able to overcome that, and still perform well enough where they came out with the win. And I think honestly the Titans defense is probably a little bit better than what the Kansas City has. So I think that especially if Tyrann Mathieu can't go, that's missing a key piece in their secondary that, when facing, Boyd and Higgins and Chase, that's going to be something that Burrow can exploit. And the fact that Joe Mixon is there as a steady, running back presence, and everyone is always going to question the offensive line, and it isn't great. But the fact that he's shown that he can overcome that kind of, poor O-line play and still pull out a victory, gives me confidence that he can pull it out in this game. But we'll see. Yeah. It's going to be a close game.
Absolutely. And I think that also the Bengals secondary, I think that the Bengals can cause enough problems if they are all working. I think they can cause enough problems for the Chiefs. So we might get ourselves a close game here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really hope so. I don't think it's going to be a blowout one way or another. But I think that it's going to be that has the makings to be a really good game.
Yeah.
Definitely, maybe not Bills Chiefs level, but definitely
for sure.
Definitely up there. Not last, but certainly not least, we have the Niners beating the Packers. Do you think that was more of the Niners winning or the Packers just choking that away?
I mean, they kind of choked it away. I mean, if there's no blocked punt, there's no blocked kick, the Green Bay takes it away in double digits. So it's like San Francisco, though, they're able to make plays. Their special teams played phenomenal. You have someone like Debo who was crucial, and he's the type of guy that you want on a team because he makes the plays to put you in a position to win. So it's going to be interesting. This is going to be a big test for them. Again, and you look at these narratives like the 49ers have always been an issue for Aaron Rodgers. Then you look at the Rams, they've beaten them 6 times. So there's a lot that goes into play. I think the Rams are very much in win mode. So it's going to be a different story. But again, don't count the 49ers out. As a Giants fan, listen, I've seen what being an underdog is, and I've seen these teams that are, go on to go to the Super Bowl. It's very possible. I wouldn't write them off. And I think, it's disappointing that Green Bay played the way that they did, but they hurt themselves, didn't do themselves any favors. I almost said flavors.
Genuine
And
flavors.
yeah, the flavors. I've obviously been sleeping way too much. But I think that the Packers deserve to lose that game at the end. That was it. I mean, they again just did themselves no favors. So I'm
Mhm.
interested to see what the 49ers can do this weekend.
Yeah, a lot's being made of the 49ers to beat the Rams like 70 straight times in a row. So
Hmm.
the pressure really is on the Rams to see if they can get over that 49ers hump. And everyone likes to trash like Jimmy G, and he hasn't been playing great, but his team has been winning. And that's really all that matters. I don't care if your quarterback
Hmm.
goes 1 for 20 for 2 yards, but he gives me a
Yeah.
win. I take that over 350 yards and 4 touchdowns and a loss. So
Hmm.
I think that the key, obviously, this isn't, I'm not saying anything crazy. The key to the Niners offense is Deebo Samuel. If you can slow him down, like the Packers were able to do for a lot of the game, it's going to be tough to generate the kind of offense they need to beat the Rams. But obviously, they have beaten them a lot of times in a row. Shanahan seems to have McVay's numbers, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of adjustments they can make this
Hmm.
coming weekend to see if they can pull it out and get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see what happens. Should be a very fun weekend.
Hmm. Absolutely. But certainly not least, going back to the Bills and Chiefs, we have the Gabriel Davis effect in fantasy football right now, where Davis had over 200 yards and 4 TDs, and everyone seems to, jokingly or not, increase his value from what it was at the end of the season. Do you think that one performance increases his value that much? How much is it increasing by, or it just doesn't increase at all, and it's just an aberration? We should forget about it.
It's definitely not increased to the value that everyone is putting it at. I'll tell you that much.
Dynasty wide receiver one.
Yeah, for me, this is what it's going to come down to. The Bills can move 13 million if they move on from Beasley and Sanders. If they move on from those two and they transition to, Davis and McKenzie, he is clearly getting the work. But I'm gonna need to see those guys maybe move before I'm ready to be like all in. You're not buying him low anymore. Now his value has skyrocketed. Am I going to take him a little bit earlier in redraft? Probably. It kind of depends which way the Bills go, this offseason. I'll tell you this much, if they do go ahead and move on from those guys and then bring in a big flashy name, I'm not going to be very excited for Gabe Davis. It feels like a trap right now. I'm not out. I'm very much in. The numbers are there. He's done well, but he only scored like 8.4 points per game
Mhm.
this year. He finished wide receiver 56, or it might have been even 58 and then 56 the year before. So, he's doing well, but I don't know that I'm going and throwing a bunch of picks away for Gabe Davis quite yet. I like to let this stuff settle a little.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a very conditional in. If he goes into next season as the wide receiver two in that offense with them having a stable running game with Singletary, then I'm going to buy like this playoff performance is something that could be seen in the future. Now, obviously to that level, but if he's getting consistent targets and he's the number two uh, weapon in that offense, then yeah, I'll buy that he should be going higher than what he went last year.
Mhm.
But we have to see. We have to see if they bring anybody back, if they sign anybody. We have to see what the offense looks like to start the year. So I'm not gonna overpay for him like a lot of people are doing right now. I'm not going to do that because I need to. There needs to be some consistency to what he's doing before I can buy in.
Yeah. And it's also the playoffs, like, how weird things happen. They use play, I don't know. So, it's not that I'm not sold. My gut tells me that Gabe Davis will have a bigger role next year. But again, I'm not going out and trying to buy him right now because I know
Yeah.
what the Twitter effect, what the making history, 4 touchdowns. I know what that effect does. We see it happen all the time, especially around this time. So I am waiting right now.
Yeah. And they also have to look at what kind of situation that, like, he was in. The fact that, Mahomes and Allen were literally just throwing bombs at each other
Mm-hmm.
for a good 3 minutes straight with no defense to stop them.
Yeah.
So you got to see what, is those kind of conditions going to be replicated very often? No, of course not. That's a very,
Yeah.
that's not a thing that happens in the NFL. You don't see guys just literally just keep throwing touchdowns one after the other and try to one up it. That doesn't happen. It doesn't
Right.
mean they can't be, doesn't mean they can't be a good wide receiver 2, 3,
No.
on the roster. You just, temper the expectations a bit until we see what kind of role he's going to get moving forward.
Yeah, it's definitely encouraging, and I'm excited
Oh, yeah.
especially for Bills fans. Like, I think it's very exciting how he played, but I don't know if I'm ready to be like all in sending picks away yet.
Yeah, no, not the kind of picks that people are asking for anyway. I might like overpay like a little bit just because I think like I want to get in before the people leave and it's impossible to trade for him. But I'm not going to be, give away these like the early first round picks that some people are. Yeah, that just isn't going to happen. It's not smart draft building to do that until we see what kind of role he has.
Yes, correct.
All right, so that'll do it for this edition of Every Day is Draft Day. Thank you all for joining us. You can catch us actually on Friday at 2:30 Eastern, the entire Champions Round team, as we go on Twitter Spaces for our conference championship preview. So that'll be fun. Check us all out there. You can find Steph and I actually starting 1 week from today over in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl. So that'll be fun. That's going to be a fun trip.
Very exciting. I'm pumped.
But yeah, we'll be back on Thursday for Every Day is Draft Day. Everyone, have a good night.
Catch ya.